What is up? I'm Scott,
I'm
and
Jason.
you're listening to Liquid Carnage. What's up, my friend?
Oh, nothing much, man. I'm still kind of recuperating from my headache and hangover from drink with Bink on Thursday.
Oh man, that was a good time. That was a lot of fun. For those that don't know, we guest hosted a podcast, a live podcast last week with our friend Bink, Brian Binkney of the show. He's got a show, Drink with Bink. You can find it on Podbean. I think just Podbean right now. But he likes to do his show late at night on a Thursday, drinking. And some of us have real jobs, so it makes it kind of hard to do that all the time, you know.
Yeah, no, I felt like, and as our listeners know, Scott and I have tried to do drunk liquid carnage.
Oh, it's bad.
It doesn't go very well.
No.
It doesn't go very well.
No.
So I was a little skeptical. I have to be honest. I was a little skeptical to think, oh, I hope this goes okay because we haven't had good success. But he's much better host than we.
Well,
are.
he kept the train on the rails. I think that's the important thing.
Yeah.
He kept the train on the track, which is something you and I can never master. Yeah, because the minute you put vitamin tequila or vitamin whiskey in us.
Yeah. Or as soon as you start drinking whiskey essential oils,
yes,
or vodka essential oils, you're done.
Yeah, it's game over.
Done.
It's game over.
Game over.
At any rate, though, if you haven't, you can go back and listen on Podbean, iTunes. It was a fun conversation. I think we had a good time.
Yeah, it was fun. I would do it again. I thought also too that he does his live, so people can call in. They can get on the call. I mean, it was pretty neat. And I don't know if that's something that we've ever tried before to do a live call like that, but.
I don't think we had the technology on how to do it beforehand, but I think we can look into it now for a few very special episodes.
I'm looking at the numbers, Scott, and we're almost to 200 published episodes now.
200 published episodes.
200 published.
What number are we at?
I think we're at 185.
Oh, I think that means for our 200, we should attempt to go live.
Okay, we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out.
We should try to have all of our guests tune in and call in that night, and see if we can make it work.
I was thinking this weekend, and I don't know about the holidays for you guys, but this Thanksgiving holiday was especially rough because it was the holiday. We had family coming in, but they were coming in for a funeral. And so it was just a lot of people for 2.5 weeks. And I think finally on Wednesday, we had the house completely to ourselves. And so this weekend was basically catching up on a bunch of cleanup stuff. And then yesterday was a lot of nothing. Now, I don't know whether now that Arizona has legalized marijuana, I'm not sure if I'm going to partake in the marijuana once it becomes legal and accessible. But one thing I have noticed is that when you get really mentally exhausted, you kind of get a little punch drunk. Get a little punch drunk. You start thinking outside the box. You start asking questions and doing stuff. And this weekend, I had that happen to me a couple times on things that came up that Noreen and I were talking. And it's like, oh, man. So, for those of you who are kind of exhausted after the holidays or starting to get ready to get exhausted, are
you telling them to toke up and see where that takes you, or are you going somewhere?
I'm telling them that you don't necessarily have to toke up. You can just be mentally exhausted, and it does pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
So we were watching a movie on Amazon Prime called The Lie, and the premise of the movie is that it's about a family where the youngest, or I guess she's an only child, the daughter of this family commits a murder, and it goes through the great lengths that the parents were willing to do to try to cover up, hide, keep anyone from knowing that this murder took place. And it got me thinking, because I was getting frustrated watching the movie, because I was saying, you know what, let the girl go to prison. Let her go. She's a moron. I don't like her.
Let the bitch burn.
She's a complete idiot. But it got me thinking, if that was my kid, to what extent would I cover up their crime?
That's a fair statement. And in full disclosure, you have 2 children. I have none. So, this seems like a great conversation to have.
I think so. And I wasn't stoned. I was just mentally exhausted.
So you were punch drunk watching a movie about covering up your child's murder.
Yeah.
murder one from your child.
Yeah, and I think that the first and obvious question is I only knew the daughter for 5 minutes. Does it make a difference if you've known her your whole life?
I think so. I mean, I'm not going to cover up someone's murder I just met for 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, because obviously the character, I was getting pissed off and saying let her go to jail. I don't care, but it was it was afterwards we started talking, and as you well know, Noreen's children are children of police officer,
Yeah.
so law enforcement. So obviously that throws
So am I, for the record. So is the EP, for the record.
Yeah, so that throws a little wrench in it too. Like, what would you cover it up if you were in law enforcement and you found out that your kid had committed a murder?
Yeah.
So you would cover.
Oh, you're asking what I cover?
Oh,
what
I'm sorry.
What I help cover?
I guess, to what extent would you cover up the crime?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. That's a hard question. Like, do I like this kid?
Well, let's assume that in the movie they liked the kid.
Okay.
They didn't understand the kid because she obviously even contemplated doing something like that.
Yeah, I think on any level, a parent is going to do whatever they think they can to help their kid stay out of trouble, and that's a real good question of morality. What's right, what's wrong. Like, this is going to sound bad, but did they kill someone? Did the girl kill someone they know, or is it like a homeless person?
No, they killed someone. She killed her best friend, actually.
Oh, how do you cover that up?
Well, in the movie, how they did it was they were traveling on an abandoned road to a retreat, like a camp retreat, and this girl, they picked up the friend. They saw the friend waiting at a bus stop. And she was waiting for her father, and she was angry at her father for not picking her up. So they offered to pick her up, and something happened in the car that upset the friend, or upset the daughter. And so the daughter, hey, can we step outside for a second? They went to a secluded area in the woods, and she threw her off a bridge.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how the movie starts, is basically that they're on this road way out in the middle of nowhere. They pull off to, I assume they told the dad, I think they were going to the restroom or something like that. And then they walked away from the father. And when the father went looking for her, there was only one of them there, and they were standing at a bridge, and the other girl was gone.
And he covered that up.
He decided that because no one saw them, they were on a secluded road. There would be no way that no one would have known that the girl got picked up by them, because she was staying at a bus stop waiting for her dad. So basically, he thought he could just get away with just don't say a word.
What kind of Lifetime movie are you watching on Amazon?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, it's called The Lie. And it was dark, man. It was dark.
Yeah, I first off, I don't think you can cover that up. I'm assuming they were not able to cover that up without giving away too many spoilers. But a morality tale like that, I think you'd have to have the truth come out at the end. Correct?
I all I will say is that throughout the movie, as you would imagine, it gets harder and harder to cover it up, because obviously she has a father that's looking for her.
Yeah.
The cops get involved. I mean, it's not as easy as, oh, okay, well, the girl just disappeared and blah, 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 and that's it.
Wow.
So, yeah, and needless to say, at the end of the movie, everything comes to light. But throughout the movie, you're like, it gets worse and worse. Like, you're getting deeper and deeper and deeper. The other thing that I found telling was the parents were pretty much upstanding people. Like, they weren't criminals themselves. So they were, just normal people like you and me, relatively speaking, of course, but normal people trying to maneuver their way through this to protect their daughter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a good question. I want to say that the moral and the right thing to do is just say, hey, kid did it, but I'm not a parent, so I'm sure parents would say something completely different, but nobody knows how they're going to act in that situation until they're actually in that situation. Like,
Yeah, I mean, if and this would be an interesting question for you. So you're pretty close to Janice, right?
Yeah, I would say
You,
so.
you guys are a couple. You guys have
Yeah.
affection for each other. She
Yeah.
comes to you and says, "Whom I just murdered my best friend. Will you help me cover it up?"
Oof. Uh, yeah. I don't know. Like, I have questions. Like, how? I don't want to know how. It's.
Well, and I think
I
isn't that really the problem? You don't want to
Yeah.
know any of the details, but unfortunately, if you're going to help, you're going to have to know the
Yeah.
details because you're going to have
Yeah.
to try to cover that stuff up.
When I become an accessory, is it an accessory with motive, or is it an accessory that just was ignorant?
I don't know.
It's a
Yeah, I would think that if you were going to have, I mean, the first attempt to try to cover it up, you'd have to know what happened.
yeah.
Because I'm
I would
assuming,
think so.
I've watched enough Discovery, ID, um, investigative Discovery, that there are so many friggin' clues and DNA and ping signals from phones. It's so difficult to commit a crime anymore. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many ways that they get you now.
Yeah. I just, oh man, I don't ever want to be in that position where I have to make that choice.
Yeah, and let's be honest. I mean, I don't think I'm going to have to be in that choice. I mean, I surrounded myself with some pretty exceptional people that I could not imagine would just all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to go kill somebody. Who'd you kill? Oh, my best friend.
Well, did you ever see that movie? Was it Suicide Kings? It was a Christian Bale bachelor party movie where they end up killing a hooker.
I heard about it, but I never saw it.
That wasn't Suicide Kings. It was I forget what it was, but it was basically the seven best friends went to Vegas, hired a hooker. One hooks up with her and ends up like banging her head to like one of those having sex with her, banging her head through a towel hook and kills her.
Ooh.
And then they have to cover it up. And it slowly starts to derail over a course of like 24 hours. I think it's been a long time since I've seen it, but
Now, I will give you a different frame of reference. My father was the type of man that if he would not have a question. If you were a friend or if you were his son, he would cover it up without even thinking about it. Wouldn't
yeah, I think we
even
only were
question it.
friends.
Wouldn't even like, oh my gosh, what'd you do? Or oh, I don't know, that's kind of bad. He would do it. That was his way. And there's something to be said about the loyalty of that. I'm kind of like you. I kind of, why'd you do it? Because maybe it's
Yeah,
better to tell the police and get that out of the open. Uh, I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, I think that's a Sophie's choice right there. I don't think you win either way with what happens. I don't ever want to be in that position, but fuck, man. If I had a kid and one of Janice's girls came and said, "Hey, I pushed someone off a bridge. Let's get in the car. Can we go to McDonald's?" I'm like, oh,
And frankly, that was what I was getting mad at this girl of, because she was kind of playing, oh, it's no big deal. Well, why is everyone so upset? And it's like, you
you
just
killed
freaking killed
somebody.
somebody, and now
Yeah,
you're acting like it's no big deal.
yeah.
So, but
That's interesting. I'll have to check that out.
yeah, it's
Maybe.
called The
Yeah.
Lie. I'm not gonna say it was the. I'm not gonna say it was the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it was an interesting dilemma.
Um. Yeah. It does. It creates a lot of interesting questions. I saw an ad for a movie, not like this, but it seemed like it would create another interesting moral dilemma. It's a Lifetime original movie. I saw the ad for it on the Facebook, and I only saw an ad for it because it stars Mario Lopez
Oh,
from Saved by the Bell,
okay.
and it's basically what they call it, like the secret rendezvous or the secret recipe, and it was a love story in Kentucky, and he plays a Colonel Sanders lookalike, so to take off on the KFC chicken empire.
Okay.
And I think the moral question is it okay to watch that? Because I thought it was a joke. I thought, honestly, God, I follow enough meme pages. I thought it was a joke. Like Mario Lopez now starring in this romance drama, based on the life of Colonel Sanders, only to find that it's a real actual movie.
Oh man, that I don't. Have you heard of the movie Freaky?
No.
It stars Vince Vaughn, where he's a serial killer,
Oh, is that
and
the
he
new
does
one?
like a Freaky Friday with one of the kids he's about ready to kill. So
Oh
the
no, I never.
the girl goes into his body and he goes into her body. And we're thinking, oh, it looks funny. Vince Vaughn, it looks really good. Holy crap, dude. I was like getting so nervous through all of it because when they do this, you think it's going to be funny and hijinks, but basically the girl, once the serial killer becomes the girl, she looks at the high school as just this huge playground of killing people.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was really good. It got like 83 tomatoes on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'll have to go check that out.
Yeah, I mean, we rented it because it's still in the movies right now, but Noreen and I haven't gone to a movie in a while, so we just rented it. You can stream these movies now, but we thought, oh, this is gonna be funny. It's gonna be kind of hijinks in college. No, it was pretty legit, man. Like there was some scenes in there where you're like, holy crap, that guy just killed that person in that way.
Woo. Yeah. Well, that's what we watched, that movie Fat Man last week with Mel Gibson and Walter Goggins.
Oh, how was that?
Kind of the same. I mean,
okay.
The premise of that is it's Santa Claus. The volume's down with kids not being good anymore. So he gets government subsidies for making toys for the boys and girls, and he's getting half his income because he's not giving out as many toys.
Okay.
So he has to take out a contract with the government to make basically weapons computer boards.
Okay.
And one kid is this perfectionist living with his grandma, gets coal for Christmas, and he hires a hitman to kill Santa.
And Goggins
and Walter Goggins is this OCD type hitman that goes after Mel Gibson, and Mel Gibson doesn't play like a jolly Santa Claus. He plays like an old weathered man who just lives in the North, who lives in what's the equivalent of the North Pole in Canada. And this guy has to track down Santa Claus and all this. And he's got to sneak through the military that's in the quote unquote North Pole to try to kill Santa Claus. And it turns into this bloody showdown. And it's this very surreal morality tale. But it was fun. Like, it's not like a Die Hard or National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation where you have to watch it every year. But it's like, that's an interesting take on Santa Claus. And if it was a TV show, I think I'd watch it.
Oh, just Walton Goggins, anyways. I mean,
he obviously he's the hitman, so I can't tell if he makes it or not, but you can figure that out. But
yeah,
Mel Gibson as Santa Claus is an interesting choice, and I think he did a good job with all that. So it's an interesting watch. It's fun. I mean, but it's not something you have to watch every year.
Well, speaking of moral dilemmas, last night, we were kind of in a euphoric mood because my Rams kicked the crap out of your Cardinals.
Oh,
yeah. But we need to come down a little bit. We need to come down. So we decided to watch 60 Minutes. And 60 Minutes was talking about these upstart companies in the last 6 months that have opened to sell PPE. And one of the companies that they interviewed was one of these companies that basically sold millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of products at higher than normal cost.
Yeah.
And it was basically the same dilemma we always run into. Well, it's just a business, it's supply and demand. So if I gouge someone for having them pay, $45,000 for a ventilator that costs $5,000, that's just good business, right? That's just good business. Well, I hate those kind of dilemmas because to me, that's not good business if you're gouging taxpayers of their money in a crisis pandemic.
Yeah, what's morally right in that case? Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I always love those kind of dilemmas because I do agree with you. Yeah, we're in a business, and if I'm selling something that's in high demand, we have a low supply of, the cost goes up.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Do I have an obligation to society to say, yeah, but for the betterment of all of us, I need to sell these at a inexpensive price to, governing agencies so the taxpayers aren't paying 8 times the cost that they normally should.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have a tough one with that. I get frustrated because that one I get really like, it pisses me off when they get with the, well, it's just business. It's just business. Yeah, but you're gouging people. Yeah, but it's just business.
Yeah, and
supply and demand.
That's the part I have a problem with too. It's like we're in a world pandemic right now, and I understand making some money off of it, but to make that kind of money, I mean, when people are in the hour of need, I mean that's essentially you're playing God with certain people, because you have the equipment to help save them, but if your price isn't going to be met, you're not going to sell it. That's fucked up.
Well, and that's the thing is that they're in a position where this guy's logic was, well, I have a product that's in demand. It's not going to go for the normal price because it's in demand. So you're going to have to pay more. Now,
Yeah.
how much is that worth to you? I'm just providing a service. I'm giving you what you want. When no one else can give it to you, I can give it to you.
That doesn't make it right, though.
No, I know it's frustrating because I totally can understand the company, right? They're thinking, hey, I'm here to make money. I have the ability to make money in this pandemic when anyone else could have done it, but I did it, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
If the cost of ventilators goes up to 8 times what it should, hey, that's just the environment that we live in.
Yeah, I'm just gonna retire off that. I just gotta sell 4 or 5. I'm good for the year.
Yeah, he said in the first 4 months, his company took in $680 million worth of orders.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, and when you're charging 8 times as much,
that's not many ventilators.
You can calculate. Yeah, that's on every ventilator. You can calculate how much profit that is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if he can find someone that wants to pay that price, so the needs there, and he can provide the product that's effective and it works, then I guess more power to him. I don't have that ability to turn off my conscience like that, but not everybody does.
Yeah, let's just say it opened up questions too, because I've always had the same question about if something good comes out of doing something bad, like do the ends justify the means? Like I've always wondered on that dilemma too. Like, yeah, something good came out of it, but if you have to cheat, cut corners, hurt people in order to get there, then is it
that doesn't make it right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess everyone has that moral dilemma for themselves. Kind of like with the kid, some people say, no, my daughter kills someone, she's on her own.
Yeah, I mean, it's a moral gray area. I think that's what gets people the most, is you're not quite sure. Yeah, I guess you have to figure out. Good for them. I wish I could think like that. But at the same point, it's like you still have to look at yourself in the mirror every day. And if you can look at yourself in the mirror knowing that, you're basically a retired millionaire, but you did it, gouging people during a pandemic. If you're fine with that, then you're fine with that. You're a better person than I am in those respects. But I don't think I could actually do that.
Yeah, I don't. I've always been kind of like, how much is too much? Like, how much money do I need to make if I'm gouging people to make the money? It doesn't make me feel good. Now, that's not to say that I'm right, because like you said, that's what it's great about it. It makes it a moral dilemma for everyone else. Some people might say, hey, screw you. I don't care. And that's fine. I just don't think like that.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, man. I don't think like that either. It's hard for me to get behind that kind of thinking on its own too. I just,
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, how about this? I'll give you my last, like, more fun type of punch drunk revelation that we had this weekend. I was asked by Noreen that if I had the chance to have a medium talk to someone on the other side, would I find that scary or would I find that like comforting?
Yeah, it's a complete 180 for your other questions. I just want you to know that.
I know. Well, we've been talking so much down shit about like covering up bad crimes and morally gouging people. I wanted to have something more fun.
Well, I don't know. What would you do? Would you want to find out?
I told Marina, I said, I think I would find it comforting unless it was one of those things where if I found out on the other side that my loved one's soul did not maintain what it was in life, but turned into some ghoulish, devilish fiend or something, like, I don't know. I think that would be something that would scare me if the medium said, "I will kill you." I don't want.
Well, it's like, oh, that's your dad coming through like that, just fucking with you, or is it just like, like your soul turns black because of your actions. So because you have a blackened soul, that you have a more, I guess we'll say, demonic presence in the afterlife when you're speaking.
Yeah, I don't want. I would feel bad if my nice grandmother, who I love to death, I found out that she became this devilish demonic spirit that was basically only thing holding her back from destroying the earth was the afterlife. You know what I mean?
Well, that's comforting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I wouldn't want that. So if that was what it is, no, I don't. I would be scared.
Yeah, I think I'd want to I want to talk to him. I want to I'd have questions first, like which one, like which relative, which friend, who, them. I want to talk to them.
Yeah. The medium says,
like, nah, I'm good.
It's your cousin Johnny. No, screw him. Move on.
Yeah,
find someone
hard
else.
Pass. Hard pass. Is he with anybody? Like anybody cool? Like, is my uncle up there? What about my boy so and so? Yeah. If you get to pick and choose, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Now,
if there's like whatever random relatives are gonna find up there, no. I mean because that leads me to more questions. Like, all right, is that random relative? Like, are they checking in on you? Are they watching you? Like, what's going on? Like, why are they choosing to talk to you? Like, I don't want to say morality questions, but like, what the hell's going on? Yeah. Why you? Why are they picking you to talk to? And what do they want to talk to you about?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, because if it's someone that you don't really want to talk to.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a Scrooge, Bob Marley, or Jacob Marley, not Bob Marley, Jacob Marley conversation, like, hey.
No woman, no cry.
Yeah, no woman, no cry. I mean, it's one thing, but if it's a Jacob Marley conversation, like, hey, man, you don't change your ways. Yeah, you're going to be down here with me with all these chains on. Okay, I'd listen. I'd entertain the conversation.
What if the conversation was something as simple as, "Don't worry, I'm fine."
But all right, I kind of figured. I mean, cool. I'd be freaked out that you came across it and to tell me, but I want to assume that if you've passed on, you're a good enough person that you don't have to reassure me that you're fine. I want to believe in my own thoughts and discourse that you are fine on the other side,
Right. Now this leads to one final question. If you know that there's something on the other side, do you change your life or change your actions in any way?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I try to live a pretty, decent, pious life. So, I would hope that my stats get me in. But it's like a Hall of Fame resume. If you don't have the stats, you don't have the stats.
Oh, so you feel like you might still have to prove yourself. Now, how about this? It proves that there is something on the other side, and you have to keep your game on. It's not like slack, like it doesn't really matter what I do in this life because there's something else in the other
I'm just saying, I watched enough Highway to Heaven with my grandma growing up, and even Quantum Leap, to understand that sometimes you have to set things right to earn those bonus points to get up there.
Oh, that's okay. Interesting. Yeah. I think that I would I kind of would just take it as like if my dad came to me and talked to me, it would be nice to hear his voice. Wouldn't need to, like, I don't need to come to terms with him, or I wish I could have said one thing that I didn't get. I don't have that with him. So I feel very fortunate about that. So just having a kind of a know that he's okay and things are okay for him, I would be okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if that's what the relative or the friend wanted to say, I'm fine with it. It's cool. It's whatever.
And as you know, if I was going to pick one person that wasn't a family member, Thomas Jefferson can talk to me anytime.
Oh yeah, you would totally fangirl out for that too.
Oh God, the medium would say, "Okay, I need to go on to someone else." I'd be like, "No, you're mine." Okay, here's another 10.
One more question, Mr. Jefferson, TJ. Can I call you TJ? One more question. Oh wow.
Oh gosh.
Well, as we wrap up the show, I know we kind of went all over the place today, so I'm sure our EP Tom will have a lot of fun with that. But as the holidays draw near and you have some time for yourself, because it's going to get hectic. It's just what happens, no matter what's going on in the world. Do you ever come across those random questions you ask your friends, family, or do you just ask yourself? And what is that question? Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. If you have a deep philosophical question you want to ask our EP Tom, which those are always fun to deal with, hit him up on Twitter and Instagram at liquid_EP.
Perfect. Well said, my friend.
Thank you.
As usual.
Thank you.
I appreciate you letting me indulge. Thanks everyone for listening. We really appreciate you guys. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Carnage.